today, you'll share this valuable information with your clients, the folks you serve, as well as other people in your network. We do have additional presentations for the community-based organizations for the rest of the month. Presentation today will be about 45 minutes long. We do have a Q&A portion at the end, but if you have a question during the presentation, you're more than welcome to ask. If you could please enter your question into the Q&A box instead of the chat, that'll help us manage the questions and ensure that we get to every single one of them. And if you are just joining us, if you could please enter into the chat box which organization you are representing. And let's see. Oh, and finally, this is a recorded session. Let's get started. Okay, so first a little bit of background with Section 8 housing. Section 8 is a government rental assistance program where the eligible individual or family rents a home. And for home, there's a lot of flexibility. It could be an apartment, a single family home, a condo, townhouse, etc. The eligible individual or family pays the owner 30 to 50% of the household's monthly income toward rent. And then housing authority will pay the difference. You may have heard the term voucher before. So there's technically a paper voucher that comes with receiving Section 8 housing. So if someone has a voucher, that means that they've been deemed eligible for the program and can search for a unit to live in. There are two main categories of voucher programs. We have the tenant-based vouchers, and that accounts for the majority of what we have here at SCCHA, or Santa Clara County Housing Authority. You may have heard Housing Choice Voucher. That is a type of tenant-based voucher that we have here. So what that means, if someone has that type of assistance, that means it is tied to the tenant. So if the tenant decides to move, the voucher will follow them to their next place, giving them a lot of flexibility of where to live within Santa Clara County. We also have property-based vouchers where the assistance is tied to the property itself. So if the tenant decides to move from there, the voucher will stay with the unit and be offered to another eligible person or family. We have an upcoming voucher program called Focus Forward. It's a type of tenant-based assistance. And I'm going to pass it to Julia Burkhead, who has been very much involved with the development of this program. So Julia?
Excellent. Thank you. Sarah, my video is blocked, but I can just talk if you prefer.
Yeah, I apologize. For some reason, it's not letting me unblock the videos.
Okay. No problem. Everyone can just look at my avatar. The Focus Forward program is a new program that SCCHA, or the Santa Clara County Housing Authority, has developed to provide time-limited rental assistance to eligible individuals and families who are interested in increasing their income through employment and education. It's a pilot program. We initially plan to enroll 200 people or 200 individuals or households off of our new interest list. And the individuals and families who are enrolled in the Focus Forward program will be eligible to receive guidance from a case management partner, connections to resources in the community that will help them achieve their goals, and financial incentives for completing their goals up to $20,000. People can join the Focus Forward program by expressing interest at the time they register for the new interest list, and Liza will be telling us more about the interest list and showing us how to express interest in joining the Focus Forward program. They will need to meet the eligibility guidelines for a Section 8 voucher in all other respects in order to qualify for the Focus Forward program. And again, they should want to increase their income by working toward education or career goals, because this is a time-limited voucher program. And the intent is that at the end of the 10 years, the family has increased their income to the extent that they're able to assume the full rent burden for their family. The the reason we're talking about Focus Forward today is that we do plan on enrolling those 200 households in 2021. And so interest in Focus Forward may give a family a greater opportunity to get pulled early from the new interest list. And I will be able to take questions as we move forward, but otherwise I will go ahead, if there are no questions, and turn the presentation back over to Lizel.
All right, great. Thanks, Julia. All right, where we came from and where we're going. If you're familiar with Housing Authority, you may be aware that we opened up our wait list in 2006, so 14 years ago. And during the opening, it was only open for a handful of days. And during that time, we accepted paper mail-in applications. During that time, over 58,000 folks applied for housing, and then we had closed the wait list. And currently, there are folks from that same wait list are still waiting for housing. We are in the middle of contacting those who are still on the wait list. And so where we went was from a wait list to now an interest list. So the interest list opened up on December 7th. It's 100% online and easy to access. Applicants can choose a property voucher sites where they want to live, where that was not an option for them before. Okay. So again, if you do have questions during the presentation, if you could please put them into the Q&A box and then we can address them. All right, let's talk about this interest list. So what it is, it's an online service portal for Section 8 housing applicants, and it's going to be open all the time and indefinitely. By joining the interest list, it tells SCCHA that you would like rental assistance. Applicants are selected from the interest list when vouchers are available based on a random lottery, and not everyone is guaranteed housing. What the interest list will replace, it will replace outdated paper mail-in application process. It will also replace a limited window for when someone could apply for housing, and it will replace the need for office visits to our agency. So applicants can sign up for via the interest list. It's a voucher to reside anywhere in Santa Clara County with the tenant-based assistance or units that accept a property voucher. In addition to signing up for the interest list, there are other ways for folks in our community to receive Section 8 housing. We do work with certain partners within the county that can provide us with direct referrals. And these referrals serve populations such as veterans, disabled individuals, chronically homeless, as well as other priority populations. And the direct referral pipelines is something that we currently practice in conjunction with our waitlist. Okay, so to understand what the sign-up process is like and the eligibility requirements, let's walk through an example. So here, Layla is a 34-year-old mother of two. To provide a suitable living environment for her children and a disabled family friend, Layla needs rental assistance. She is busy caring for her household during the day, so she works as a janitor at night. Now, Layla can easily apply online to be considered for housing assistance any time of day or night. She doesn't need to apply in person anymore. So who is eligible to apply? So Layla meets the 18 and over age requirement. So just as a side note, so folks need to be 18, at least 18 at the time they are selected from the interest list and to go through the eligibility assessment process. When someone signs up on the interest list, they do not need to be 18 at the time, only when they are selected to go through the eligibility process. Her household is eligible because it has at least one member legally documented in the US. Her children are documented US citizens, although she and her friend are not. And Layla also meets the income eligibility requirements, which we're going to talk about on the next slide. So how does Layla know that she is income eligible? Well, it's based on the household size. So in this scenario, there are 4 individuals, which would be Layla herself, her 2 children, and her family friend, so total of 4. And based on this table, for the household size of 4 persons, the income limit would be $78,950. So as long as the entire household's annual income is below that figure, then they would be income eligible to join the program. So I'm going to take a pause here to see if there are any questions before we move forward.
Faisal, there's one question here that says, what's the likelihood of people actually being accepted and receiving services? I believe that this question is referring to the likelihood of people being pulled from the interest list and then offered an opportunity for a voucher. And that is going to largely be dependent on the vouchers that become available on a yearly basis. And that is dependent on the turnover that occurs. If somebody exits the program, no longer needs assistance, or if someone dies, then that creates an availability of vouchers. Also on the property-based voucher program, there are more immediate needs there, but the same principles apply where the vouchers that become available are really based on people leaving the units.
All right, thank you. And now I will pass it over to Patrick Burns, who is going to do a live demonstration of the applicant portal and how to sign up.
Do we want to take any questions before I go, or do you just want me to start the presentation?
Well, we've got a pretty quiet group today, but there is one question that came up. So I will answer that question as you start your screen share, Patrick. So to confirm, only one member of the household needs U.S. citizenship despite their age, even if they are young children. Yes, that is true. Only one person in the household needs to be documented and does not need to be the head of household and can be a minor. Also, if clients have SSN but are not residents yet, in the case that they are asylum seekers, for example, would that be okay, or do they need to wait for their residency? And Julia, I believe maybe you can help out with this question.
Yeah, so I'm reluctant to speak to any kind of specific immigration questions, but what I can say is that for non-citizens, we run their information through the ICE, through an ICE confirmation system, and that confirmation system will kick out a code to us to indicate whether they meet the eligibility for the program, whether their immigration status is an eligible status for the purpose of this program. What I would say is they are certainly welcome to apply, and if they are pulled from our interest list, we will verify it at that time.
Thank you. I think we're good to go, Patrick.
Okay, so to start off, I would direct you guys to go to the Santa Clara County Housing Authority main page. Here you will have the 3 options. The option we're going to pick is the Section 8 applicant portal. Here it's basically going to be the information from sign up to when we contact you. So it's just the process of how the interest list works. Next, it's going to be like the eligibility requirements. After that, it's going to show you the same chart that Liza went over, where it has the income limits per person in the household, the benefits of why we're using the interest list, the way we are, essentially it will stay open indefinitely, and then also it will increase turnaround time and it's easier to update and everything like that. This gives you a brief description on how to register. And then here's the toll-free number if there are any questions. And then I'm going to show you the 3 places that you can actually click to actually get to the portal itself to sign up. So the first one's at the bottom, the second one's right here, and then the third one is at the very top. So yeah, we're going to go ahead and go through the sign up process. Here's the landing page for the applicant portal. If the head of household or the person you're helping sign up either speaks Spanish or Vietnamese, you can go ahead and click one of either language, and it'll change the entire site's preference so that everything is in that language that the person would want. So we're going to go through the sign up process. And then before I create the account, I just want to make sure that everyone knows that this is a live database. So please refrain from using test accounts. These accounts are test accounts, like I said, and aren't going to go into the database. So I'm going to go ahead and sign someone up. So, and then if you're helping someone fill out the application, just make sure that it is month, day, year. We've been having issues where people have been putting day, month, year. So we're trying to fix that. But right now, just if you're helping someone sign up in the next week or two, just make sure that they know that it's month, day, year. So, and I'm going to go next. If the person you're helping sign up doesn't have a social security number, you can go ahead and check this box and hit next. If they do, go ahead and enter it. Okay. So now I've entered that. Email address. The password is 8 characters, 1 uppercase, 1 number, and 1 special character. That is shown requirements. So now we're going to go ahead and submit. We've successfully created an account. We have not signed up for the housing voucher or property voucher yet. I'm going to go through that process now. Again, if you're signing up someone who does speak either Spanish or Vietnamese, you can go ahead and click this and it'll change the entire site. So now let's go through the housing voucher sign up. We're going to go ahead and join the list. Just general questions. Have you lived or worked in Santa Clara County in the last 5 years? Here is where you would indicate if the person applying would want to be part of the Focus Forward voucher list. If so, go ahead and click yes. If not, then no. If the head of household is disabled, go ahead and click this box. Do race, and then mail. I'm going to go next. Mailing address, test account. So it doesn't. Here is where you would enter either an alternative email or mobile device or mobile phone number. If they do go ahead and enter a mobile phone number or an alternate email and check these boxes, any updates will be sent to those either alternative email or cell phone or device. So we're going to go ahead and click next. Here you would enter the new member or any other members of the household. So kids, spouses, or other adults that would be living with the head of household. So you would add it here. We're going to go ahead and save. So there we have successfully signed up for the housing voucher list. Now we're going to go through the property voucher list, the sign up process. So it shows how many members are in the house, any accessibility needs, and then below it'll have the preferences of how many people you have in the house. Because there's only 1 person, it would be 1 bedroom, studio, and single room occupancy. We're going to go ahead and go next. This is general information on people that are ages 55 plus and 62 plus. We're going to go on, select the city that you would want to see properties in. I'm going to go next, And there you go. This will list all properties that are available in the cities that you selected. If you see here, I believe this account is over the age of 55. And so it's showing in not crossed out letters that they can select for age 55 plus properties. And so you could go ahead and select those properties. And then if it doesn't have the age requirement, that means that anyone can reply. And then because this account is not over the age of 62, it shows it as grayed out. So I went ahead and selected the two properties. I'm going to go to the very bottom, click done. And here are the two properties I selected. And now I've successfully signed up for the housing voucher and property voucher list. Hit next, short survey. And there you go. So now that we've signed up for both the housing voucher and property voucher list, the only thing that the applicant needs to do is re-sign in every year or within a year, which is this date right here, to make sure that their application is renewed so that they can be selected moving forward. And so every single time you sign in, this will update. So if I were to sign in tomorrow, it would say the 17th. And yeah, is there any questions I should answer? Or?
Thanks so much, Patrick. I'm not seeing any specific portal questions. There is one that asks whether or not people will be able to sign up in other languages. And at the beginning, Patrick showed you had to select Spanish or Vietnamese on the first screen down at the bottom. But I'm not seeing other questions specifically regarding the this portion of the presentation. And so for those of you who have a couple questions out here that are more programmatic, we'll circle back to those at the end.
Sounds good. I'll go ahead and turn it back over to Liza.
Okay, and this is just a quick, I'm sorry, thank you, Patrick. And this is just a quick review of what Patrick had gone over of how to sign up for an account and then the sign up for the actual vouchers that someone would be interested in, how to add people to the household. And Patrick did speak to how to remain active on the list, that all someone has to do is sign into the account once a year. They don't need to update anything. They just need to sign in, which will alert the system that they are still interested in receiving housing. And I would, if you are assisting folks with signing up for the interest list, I would let your client know that they should get a confirmation that they have an account, that they signed up for an account. If it doesn't show up in their inbox, that they should look into their spam folder in case it went there on accident. Some of the benefits of having an online portal is that information can be updated anytime. So the information to update would be phone number, email address, other forms of contact, who's going to be in the household. You can also check status at any time. And you will receive a notification via email if you are selected or if there's a new property to sign up for. We have conducted various outreach efforts to spread the word about the interest list opening. So we have contacted newspapers to have some ads put in. We are continuing to distribute flyers in the community and to our CBOs. We have updated our front page of the website, and we have passed along public service announcements for our local radio stations to air. And the interest list, again, is open and accessible online 24/7, 365 days a year for an indefinite amount of time. Some frequently asked questions for the community-based organizations. We did touch on some of these, but I think it's worth revisiting. How will applicants be selected? Applicants will be selected randomly as vouchers become available. Preference may be given to those who have lived and or worked in Santa Clara County in the last 5 years and to those who enroll in Focused Forward program. So that's why there was those options in the portal to check off on those if those apply. Do I need to sign my clients up? If they have access to a computer, tablet, or phone, they are able to complete the sign up themselves. And the portal is a web-based app, so it's just a website. There is no downloading of anything needed to access it. What if my client doesn't have a computer? If they don't have access to computer, tablet, or phone, you can point your clients in the direction of a community resource like a library. But we understand that it's quite challenging to do that right now. All they need to sign up is a valid email address. If they are unable to visit a community resource for internet access, you can assist your clients by signing up for them. They can reach out to a family or friend who has access to internet as well. What if my client moves or needs to update her information? She can do this at any time by logging into the portal. Okay. Some follow-up resources. We'll be sending to those who are interested, additional resources such as flyers to pass along, tear-offs if you are going to post it in a common space, as well as the presentation. Just make a request if you like the presentation as well. And if you like these resources, please send an email to ilmarketing@scchousinauthority.org. So I will leave this slide up so you can jot down the email address if you'd like to follow up with us. This concludes the content of the presentation, and we can address some questions.
Okay, thank you, Liesl. There are a handful of questions here that I will run through. If clients do not have an email address, can service providers like case managers use their email in place of the clients? And go ahead, Julia.
I was going to say the email address functions like a user ID, so it really should be individual to the account. What we would probably ask is that the case manager assist the client with establishing an email account.
Okay, next question is, does this replace property-specific waiting lists, or do folks need to keep applying to those separately as well? So this creates,
this creates property-specific waiting lists for Santa Clara County Housing Authority properties. People would still want to apply separately for properties that are not affiliated with the Housing Authority.
Okay, about how long is the wait for the tenant-based voucher, and has the supply of vouchers increased?
Yes, our supply of vouchers increases as we receive new funding and new voucher allocations. So for instance, we were just notified that we've received another 173 veterans vouchers. And while those vouchers are specifically designated to veterans and come through the VA, that's 173 people who won't need to get a voucher off of our Housing Choice Voucher program, right? So we do increase our supply of vouchers as we are able, as funding and resources come available from HUD. And in general, the wait is as long as the list has been, right? So since we last opened our list 16 years ago, that's how long this wait was. But under the interest list, because we will do random draws, the wait could be non-existent. You could theoretically register one day and be part of the random draw later that same day or the following day. Because there is no guarantee of assistance. It is simply that you're expressing interest in being pulled into a future random draw.
Can you explain how or if violent survivors can receive priority?
We don't provide any prioritization for survivors of violence. There are certain HUD protections for survivors of violence who are already part of the program, but it's not a preference for applicants.
Okay, when you say available properties, does that mean that those units are currently unoccupied?
No, it simply means a property that you would be eligible to live in.
Can one person apply for both the person and property vouchers?
Yes, and we strongly encourage that they do so. As was mentioned earlier, we think that the property vouchers will probably be some of the first that we draw because we do have some current need for applicants for certain units and unit sizes in our property based units. So we strongly encourage people to apply for both if they are interested in housing.
Is there a limit of how many people can live in a house or property?
Yes, our limitations are posted on our website. We call them our occupancy standards. You can find them in our administrative plan under our housing quality standards. Typically, we use a 2-person per room model, and we do consider the living room an available space if the family chooses to use it for sleeping. So for instance, in a 1-bedroom unit, we would not allow more than, I believe, 4 people. You can check that on our website.
Okay. If any member of the household is undocumented and or without a social security number, will you also run their information into the ICE database that has been mentioned?
No, we would not. If a family member is what we call uncontending, they don't contend that they are eligible for the program, they declare right up front that they aren't eligible for assistance, then we would not check their information through the ICE database. What that means is that they may live in the household, but the housing authority will not subsidize their portion of the rent. So for instance, if there are 4 members in the household and one of them is non-contending or not eligible, that person may live in the household, but the housing authority will only provide subsidy for the other 3 members. So the subsidy would be prorated.
You might have touched on this question already. Are there more homes available now? I know the waiting lists were incredibly long before and were discouraged many people in the past.
In terms of the number of homes available, the housing authority is always conducting outreach and trying to encourage more owners to come onto the program. We've done a lot over the last couple of years to build incentives and to build relationships with owners in the community to try to bring as many owners into the program as possible. So I do believe that there are more units available now maybe than there have been in the past because of some of our marketing efforts in that regard. But that doesn't really relate to the issue of wait times. The wait times are simply long because there aren't enough resources to meet the level of need in this community. And even with this new interest list, we still can't guarantee at all by any stretch that somebody who needs assistance will receive assistance. It's simply an opportunity.
Can housemates be considered a household, just like in the example of the presentation, to determine their income eligibility?
Yes, any group of people can choose to apply together as a household. We don't need to establish any type of legal or biological relationship. If they want to be considered as a household, they can be at the time of application. That's not necessarily true once they've joined the program. So unrelated people who want to live together, we do recommend actually that you apply together because we do have rules about who can join the program once the household is already part of the program. And yes, anybody who is part of the household, their income will be considered in determining eligibility, the overall eligibility for the household.
What type of support is provided for those clients that are not tech savvy?
That is exactly why we invited all of you here today. Actually, you are the support that we're hoping is available to people who are not tech savvy. So if you are aware that you work with people who are not tech savvy, then we're hopeful that you feel comfortable at the end of this presentation to help walk them through. truly the only way that the Housing Authority can make this interest list open all the time and indefinitely is by enlisting the support of community partners. We simply don't have the resources to support everyone in completing these applications. But we do strongly believe in the value of having a list that is always open and open indefinitely. And so we're hoping that you will see that value also and partner with us in helping people get registered.
If a person currently doesn't have any income, would they be eligible to apply?
Absolutely, that's exactly what this program is for. So, so certainly if somebody does not have income, they are encouraged to apply.
And then will we get a copy of this presentation?
I'm tossing that one to you, Sarah.
So we're actually going to be posting one of the recorded webinars to our website either this week or next week. Then the email address that's on your screen, ilmarketing@scchousingauthority.org, is an email that you can, or a way you can reach out to us to request a copy of the presentation and any additional marketing materials that might be helpful. And then one last question that came in, is there a minimum tenant portion of rent?
Yes, so currently our minimum is $50 a month. Everyone must pay that even if they have $0 of income. We expect them to come up with $50 a month. That is a number that can be changed by the Housing Authority at any time in consultation with our board. So that could change over time. But typically families pay 32% right now of their adjusted income. That also is a number that can shift over time. But our current policies with regard to minimum rent and the tenant rent portion are always available in our administrative plan, which is posted on our website.
Is there any group or persons who has priority to receive services?
Yes, as Liza and Patrick covered in the demonstration, we currently are offering or we're prioritizing people who have lived or worked in Santa Clara County in the last 5 years and people who are interested in the Focus Forward program. And specifically that Focus Forward prioritization relates to those 200 vouchers that we will pull in 2021. For the regular housing choice vouchers, the non-time limited ones, only the live or work preference would apply there.
Okay, that looks like the end of the questions in the chat and the Q&A. I don't see anything else coming in, but it's not too late. If you have questions, feel free to toss them in there and we'll answer them. How do you define a disability? Does it have to be a formal disability through SSDI?
We use different definitions of disability for different processes. For instance, for a reasonable accommodation or modification to a unit versus for certain program qualifications. There are certain programs for which you need to meet a certain definition of disability. And those disability definitions actually are included within the app. So as you're moving through the app, you'll see that there are highlighted links that'll provide more information about kind of the nature of the disability or the level of documentation that would be required for different aspects of the program, and you can click on those. So certainly somebody who already has Social Security disability income meets all the definitions. Somebody who does not have Social Security disability income, there may be other aspects of the program where they are still considered disabled.
Okay, did Patrick say they don't need a Social Security number to apply?
Yes, he did.
That's good. There's a box in the app when you're signing up that you can click if you don't have a Social Security number, and then you can continue through with the application. But in order to be eligible for assistance, if you are selected from the interest list, at least one person, even a minor, in the household must have a Social Security number. Then if the person with the disability is a member of the household that is undocumented, does that still count as a disabled household? Good question.
I'm sorry, can you repeat that one for me, sir?
Sure. if the person with the disability is the member of the household that is undocumented, does that still count as a disabled household?
You stumped me on that one. I would like to say yes, but I'm going to have to double check.
Is there another resource we can refer to if we want further clarification on the application process for undocumented applicants?
I don't believe we have any particular publications available about undocumented applicants, although HUD does publish their regulations with regard to eligibility on their website. So you could potentially, if you're looking for specific information about what categories of immigration status apply or don't apply, you could find it through them.
And that looks like the last of the questions. Last call for folks. Again, if you think of any questions, or if you take this back to your organizations and more questions come up through discussions there or through assisting clients in the community, you can definitely reach out to us at ilmarketing@scchousingaauthority.org. We're happy to field those questions, provide any additional resources. If you would like this presentation to be conducted within your organization to a larger group, we're also happy to do that as well. But the best way to reach us is through that email address on the screen right now. And I think that's all we got for questions, Liesl.
All right. Well, thank you so much for spending your morning with us. We really appreciate you taking the time to learn about the opening of the interest list. Again, we are here to help answer any questions you may think of as you're processing all this information we just shared with you. And thank you so much.